Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be trying a new product, or actually two new products that I have heard pretty much nothing about, which is very interesting in the makeup world. I feel like very few products come out and you don't hear anything about them. I feel most new launches are you see them somewhere, especially on social media. But these from Bare Minerals, specifically this new foundation, I have seen nothing about. It's called the Original Pure Serum Radiant Natural Liquid Foundation Broad Spectrum SPF 20 with mineral sunscreen. Now, we're going to be trying this. Like I said, I don't know anything about it. I haven't heard anything. The only reason I knew it was even out is I follow Bare Minerals on Instagram and I saw a few posts about it, and I ended up buying mine from Ulta, so I figured we would try it in a video. I also got one of their new Gen Nude highlighting blushes, so I figured we could try that out as well. So if you want to try these out with me, please keep watching. If you're new here, my name is Blair. I do all kinds of beauty and makeup content here on YouTube every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I hope you'll subscribe, and let's get into it. All right, so like I said, this is the new Original Pure Serum Radiant Natural Liquid Foundation from Bare Minerals. I got mine from Ulta online. The only places I've seen it so far are the Ulta website and the Bare Minerals website. It comes in 20 shades, which is not great. Honestly, I've been looking at the shade range on this, and for me personally, I had a very hard time picking a shade, and I've had that issue with Bare Minerals a few times in the past. Their concealer, I forget what it's called, but the Original Mineral Concealer or something, not the powder, but the liquid one. I tried that years ago when it came out. Could never find a shade that was anywhere close to what I would use for my skin tone, and this shade range is kind of reminding me of that. I went with the shade Light Neutral 2. Based on looking at it in the bottle, it looks a little bit dark to be considered a light shade to me, but we'll just have to try it out and see. I do have a little bit more sun and color in my skin right now than I normally do because I was at the beach about a week ago, so hopefully it's okay. It retails for $44, which again, I feel like Bare Minerals has always been like a more affordable, not necessarily drugstore price point, but their products have really been on the lower end of like a high-end price point typically, but even this foundation now is $44. I have a very special place in my heart for Bare Minerals because that was the first makeup I ever wore. I wore the original powder foundation. I still have it to this day. I don't wear it a ton, but when I was younger, when I first started wearing makeup, probably around 15 maybe, that is what I wore. And so for that reason, Bare Minerals just, I don't know, they give me like a warm fuzzy feeling just because I feel like that was my first introduction to makeup before I really discovered my love for it. So that's what Bare Minerals reminds me of. When I see the brand, that's what I think of. So this foundation, they claim, is 93% pure skincare ingredients, which to me, that automatically reminds me of the new Say foundation. I can't even remember the name of it, but you know what I mean. The new one from Say came out a few months ago. I believe they say about the same thing about that foundation, that it's around 90% skincare. So for that reason, I have little to nothing as skin prep on my skin today. I did my skincare routine, but that was a few hours ago. So we're gonna keep it no primer, no real skin prep, just because that is what works best with the Say foundation. And I'm assuming because of the skincare claim here that it's gonna be the same way with this one. It says hyaluronic acid, which is very common now, glycerin, and skin nourishing white water lily flower for smoother skin in 7 days. Ideal for all skin types, even the most sensitive. Available in 20 inclusive shades, which is very interesting. I'm excited to try it. It does say it's a medium coverage. I got this a little while ago. I actually got it about a week ago, but this is the first time I've been able to sit down and film with this. So this is what it looks like. Pretty standard Bare Minerals packaging. It's frosted glass. Something else I was going to mention is Bare Minerals used to make a foundation, and I think it was called Bare Skin, I want to say. And I know that was discontinued a while ago, so I'm assuming this is probably the replacement for that. I don't think I ever tried that foundation. I don't think it was super popular. I want to say it had a dropper, and this one does not. It has a pump. It's very, very liquidy, so I'm guessing you definitely need to shake it up. So this is shade Light Neutral 2. Okay, so right there it doesn't look too bad. But like I said, right now I definitely have more color than I typically do. There it is, kind of blended in. So right now, hopefully it should be okay. It feels very, very serum-like. So I definitely see where the name is coming from. It's very, very, very liquidy. Typically I do color corrector first under my eyes, but I figured we'll do this first today. So I'm gonna get some on my hand, and then we'll do one side at a time, I guess, so we can kind of see. Okay, yeah, so it feels, almost has like an oily feel to it. So I'm gonna use a Smashbox blurring foundation brush to blend this in. That's clean. Okay, yeah, so extremely thin and lightweight feeling. Actually, I think right now for my skin, this is actually like a perfect match. Okay, so there it is, applied to half of my face. So it blended in really, really well, pretty easily. Gave a decent amount of coverage. You can definitely still see the redness in my skin peeking through right there, but with it being so thin, I'm kind of surprised it even gives this level of coverage. I mean, it looks like my skin does not look makeup-y at all. It looks like this side of my face, just more even. Definitely has a bit of a glow. I wouldn't say it's like overly glowy, but definitely, I think they describe this as a natural finish. I mean, I could see that, but I feel like it's a little bit more than natural finish. I would say slightly radiant. But let's actually see if it's buildable at all. So I'm gonna take just a little bit that's still on the back of my hand and just tap this in here. Okay, so yeah, that definitely added a little bit more coverage in that area. So I would say it is buildable. Okay. All right, let's do the other side. I'm just gonna grab what's left directly on the brush and apply it this way. I really like the consistency of this, honestly. I mean, it's extremely thin. I think it's like Pat McGrath Labs Skin Fetish foundation. It's that consistency, but it's a bit more oily in terms of how it feels. All right, so there it is, applied all over my face. Honestly, it looks beautiful right now. I mean, it truly does look very, very skin-like. I mean, it's got a lot of glow to it. So on my skin, it's laying really nicely. I don't notice it emphasizing anything on my skin. It's laying really beautifully. I don't know if you have a lot of texture in your skin. I never really know about this type of formula for that, just because it's something this thin can really sit in areas. And if you have a lot of texture, a lot of pores, a lot of acne, I don't know about that. But overall, it looks nice so far. Nothing weird is happening, no pilling. I would agree that this is about a medium coverage. Also, based on how this looks now that I've applied it on my face, definitely reminds me of the Say foundation, for sure. So I'll be very curious to see how this wears throughout the day. So I am gonna wear this makeup all day long, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like throughout the day. So far, so good. I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit of corrector under my eyes, concealer, probably some bronzer, and then I'll come back and we'll try out the highlighting blush. Okay, got concealer on, a little bit of powder. I did set my face with the Bare Minerals Original Mineral Veil in light. And then I put a little bit of bronzer on. I used the Victoria Beckham bronzer. And now we're gonna try this new Gen Nude highlighting blush. Haven't seen too much about these either. I do love the Bare Minerals bronzers. I love the shade Kiss of Pink. I've had that one since they released it the first time. I love that. And they have new shades in the bronzers as well that I kind of wanted to try, but I figured I would get one of these new ones. I got the shade Pink Glow. Looks like that. It's just in their typical Gen Nude blush packaging, but it's just a light pink. I'm curious how much color you'll get from this. Okay, so that is it there. Definitely not a lot of color. It's a little bit of a pink hue to it, but it's definitely not super pigmented. The reason I set my face with powder is because I just figured this product probably wouldn't do as well over a wet base, so that's why I set my face with powder. I don't always do that before I go in with bronzer and blush, but I'm gonna use the Flower Beauty blush brush to apply this. Very pretty. It's very subtle. It's not like intense color, but it's definitely pretty. Yeah, that's really nice. I like how it looks from afar. Let me look up close in my mirror. Yeah, I mean, it's not I wouldn't say it's like a super intense glow. Kind of say it's like a muted highlighter, I guess, with a little bit more pigment than glow, but not a ton of pigment. That's probably not a good way to describe it, but it looks nice on my skin. I would definitely say it's more of a natural looking glow though. It's not anything super, super intense. Less pigment than the bronzers. The bronzers give more color for sure. This gives glow with just a little bit of color, or at least this shade does. I think it comes in 5 shades maybe. I think there's one called Mauve Glow that's a little bit darker than this. That would obviously probably show up a little bit more on my skin tone, but I mean, it's nice. If you're wanting something with a little bit of glow, a little bit of color, it looks pretty. It's not like clinging anywhere, weird. I like it. Okay, I am gonna go ahead and finish the rest of my face, and then I'll come back. We'll look and see how everything's looking, and then like I said, I'm gonna wear this makeup all day, and I'll come back and show you how it wears in a few hours. Let's finish my makeup. finished my makeup, and I have to say, I really like how this foundation looks so far. But obviously, I just put it on like 30 minutes ago, so I need to see how it wears throughout the day. But I have to say, I'm pretty impressed with how it looks as of right now. I still don't know if you have a really oily skin. I don't know that you would love this. I feel like it might be a little bit too much for you in terms of the glow you get from that kind of oily, serum-y consistency, but it looks beautiful on my skin. I don't have oily skin though. I have very normal skin. Sometimes leaning a little bit dry, but it has to be pretty cold outside for me to get dry skin. So I would say my skin is pretty normal overall, but I'm honestly kind of surprised. I didn't have super high expectations for this foundation just because I feel like a lot of Bare Minerals complexion launches, apart from their original mineral foundation, I haven't loved over the years. So I don't know. I didn't have super high hopes for this foundation, but so far it looks good. I also tried a few years ago the original liquid mineral foundation. Was not a huge fan of that either. So I'm gonna wear this makeup all day, and I'll come back at least once, hopefully 2 more times, kind of show you what it looks like, and we'll see what we think. So I'll see you in a few hours. Hi, it's a few hours later. It's been like 5 hours, and I wanted to stand in front of a window so you could kind of see what this makeup looks like. I have not touched up anything. I haven't touched anything at all on my face since I applied this earlier. It looks pretty good. I'm actually very surprised. I had in my head I wasn't gonna love this right off the bat just because I didn't love the Say foundation, and like I was saying earlier, I kind of felt this was very similar to that one after applying it, but I have to say this one has definitely worn better on me than the Say. It's not even very, I mean, I feel like I don't look that shiny. Like, it still has a glow, obviously, but it had a glow earlier. That's not really anything that's developed. I do think, though, like, you can really see here in this light. If you have a lot of pores, like, you can absolutely see your pores pretty well there. If you have a lot of issues with texture, like I said earlier, I don't know that you would love this foundation, but overall, I'm happy with how it looks. It hasn't really worn off. I feel like it hasn't really changed all that much in 5 hours. So I'm gonna keep this on for another few hours, and I'll be back and we'll kind of wrap up my thoughts there. But so far, I'm pretty impressed. All right, it's the end of the day, and this makeup has been on for about 8 hours at this point. And you guys, I have to say, I'm really impressed with this. I mean, I'm kind of surprised by this. I feel like it has not really worn off at all. I mean, it really does not look that different from earlier today. Based on how this looks on my skin, and I have normal skin, I don't have dry skin, I don't have oily skin, I still think it is pretty radiant. And I don't know if you have super oily skin if you would love this. However, I'm very impressed with the wear on this. For 8 hours and no touch-ups, no powder, no nothing, I think I'm pretty impressed with this. I think this definitely wears better than the Say foundation, in my opinion. I know I keep bringing that one up, but it's because it really reminds me of that. The formula, the way it looks, it's very similar to that one, but this one definitely wears better, 100%. And I barely did any skin prep beforehand today, so I didn't do any primer. I didn't overly moisturize my face right before applying it, so I think it's definitely one of those foundations you don't really need to do a whole lot to prep for, which can be a good thing if that doesn't, if that doesn't bother you. I obviously don't know if I really prepped my skin and used a primer and did those kinds of things, if it would still look as good as it does now. I'm assuming it does, but I don't know. I'll have to keep using it and let you know. But honestly, I'm pretty impressed with this. I think this is a good foundation from Bare Minerals, which I'm happy about. Like I said in the beginning, I love Bare Minerals. They have a very special place in my heart, and I love the whole aesthetic of that brand. I love the super natural mineral-based products. I think, you know, they were one of the first brands doing that years and years ago. And yes, they've since really branched out, but I still love Bare Minerals. But I will be the first to admit, the last few complexion products I've tried from them, I have not loved. But this one, I am impressed. I am very, very impressed. The highlighting blush, it's pretty, and I will say it's still there. I mean, it really hasn't worn off. I feel like it's still there. It looks exactly like it did earlier. So I like it. I mean, is it anything I've never seen before or anything out of the ordinary? No, it's not super pigmented. So if you're looking for a glowy blush and you want to actually look like you're wearing blush, I would honestly probably go with the bronzer from Bare Minerals over this one. But if you're looking for glow and just a little bit of color, I think you would probably like these. Also, something else to note about this foundation is, although it's a very radiant finish and it's very oily, it's very thin, and it has a very serum-y and slightly oily texture. When you pump it out, you can feel it like as soon as you swipe it on your skin. It really doesn't emphasize my pores terribly. Now, you saw earlier in the clip before this where I was standing in front of a window in front of natural light, and yeah, you could definitely see my pores, but I mean, you can see that with any foundation. Let me turn it down a little bit so maybe you can see a little bit better. I mean, if you have larger pores like in this area, I don't know if this texture is going to be your favorite, and I don't know if it would wear the same on someone with oily skin as it does on me with someone with normal skin. But if you're not super oily and you're looking for just an everyday, slightly radiant, very natural looking and feeling foundation, I think you would really like this. Honestly, I was feeling my face earlier, and my face feels like there's nothing there, honestly. You know how sometimes with certain products, you layer a lot of things on your skin, you can kind of feel your skin, it just feels like you have like a layer of something on your face. You know what I mean? This one is so incredibly thin. I mean, it is virtually undetectable. Even looking at my skin, it does not look like I have on a ton of foundation. Let me know if you've tried this foundation. Like I said, I have heard nothing about it. Literally nothing. I haven't seen anyone posting about it, so I know nothing about what people are saying or thinking about it. But if you've tried it, let us know in the comments. If you're interested in it, let us know that too. But I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with this. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on Instagram at simply.blair and TikTok simply.blair1. I will have everything I used today listed below. They are affiliate links, so I do make a commission if you do shop through them. So thank you so much for doing that if you choose to do so. And I will see you in my next video. Remember, simply be you. Bye.